So in June 1994, I was trekking in the Himalayan mountains at the source of the river Ganges, not far from the Chinese border, together with some friends from Sweden. And we did a classical Hindu pilgrimage route called Pancharkeda, which connects 5 different temples up in the high mountains. It was a challenging and tough but wonderful walk. I think we spent maybe 2 or 3 weeks out in the wilderness. And first of all, we went to a small village called Gangotri to get adjusted to the high altitude. Gangotri is about 9,000 feet above sea level, right at the source of the Ganges River, and very close to a big glacier called Gomukh, the mouth of the cow. The mouth of the cow. The water that floods out from this glacier has a milky quality because of all the mud and ice that is flushed away from the interiors of this glacier. And as we approached the village, I was so excited because I had always dreamt of seeing these high mountains in the Himalaya and the sadhus and saints and masters who lived up there. So I was so excited that I got ill. I had a fever when we got there. And our plan was to go up to Gomukh together and stay the night there in our tents. And on the following day we would be back in the village and visit a famous local guru by the name of Gangadas Babaji, who lived a mile and a half away from the village. But I had to stay down in the village. I lived in an ashram that was run by a monk and a nun. And I felt bad about having to stay there in the village, but in the morning I found that it was sunshine outside. Usually Gangotri is very cold and damp, but this was a bright and beautiful morning, so a strange idea emerged in my mind. What if I would go and visit this Gangadas Babaji on my own, just him and I, That would be awesome. So I grabbed my bamboo stick and left, and my hosts advised me to stay. I wasn't well yet, but I didn't listen to them. I left, and after half a mile, the fever returned. And it was too far to return to the village and too far away to Gangadas Babaji's ashram. So I was sure that I would die there. I was trembling with fever, and I was sure that this was my last moments on earth. And I felt embarrassed. What a stupid way to leave this world just because of this decision, this foolish decision. And right at this critical moment, I heard a voice from high above to my left. "Hey, mister, where are you going?" I looked up, and there stood a white-dressed Indian guy, middle-aged Indian guy, quite fat and wealthy looking, with a mustache, and he stood there, and I told him, "I'm going to Gangadas Babaji," and he bowed. Then he told me, "Come here, there's a big cave here, a cave in the Himalayan mountains." I thought that I might just as well die up there, so I crawled up to him, and when I reached him, I told him, "I'm sick." "Oh, I'm a doctor," he told me. He was an MD out there in the middle of nowhere. And then he checked my pulse on different spots on my arm. That's a classical Ayurvedic way of making a diagnosis. And he confirmed, "Yes, you have high fever." And he pointed towards an opening of a cave. And out from the cave came a yogi who looked very healthy, with long curly hair, shining with white teeth, and lots of muscles, very slim. And he looked at me and told me, "I will treat you too." And the doctor bowed again, and he disappeared. Obviously was a disciple of this yogi who didn't want to tell me his name, but he invited me to come inside his cave. And I lied down on some kind of mattress or carpet, and he had an assistant there, a guy with a pearl in his ear, who was from Austria. I came to know that later. And Yogi plugged one of my nostrils with cotton and instructed me to breathe through my nose, which I did. And he gave me massage on different spots on my body for some time. Then he told me to relax, maybe an hour or so. And the treatment was repeated three times. And I felt that the fever was gone. I felt really fine. And then he touched me on my forehead like this. Wow, I felt like I was suddenly floating in the cave. The border between my physical body and the walls of the cave disappeared. I felt as if I was lying in one of those floating tanks. I've never tried them, but it's probably a similar experience. There was no time and space. I felt just euphoric. And after some time of hovering like that, I sank down to earth again, and the yogi told me, stay here, we'll go and do some shopping. Okay, so I lie there, and I noticed all of a sudden that it was dark outside. The stars were shining. I must have been there for 6 or 7 hours or something. So I jumped up and rushed to the village, and I met the yogi and his assistant, and they had loads of food, and they looked a bit disappointed. Are you leaving? The yogi asked me. I explained the situation to him, but I suggested that we should meet on the following day. And the next day, me and my friends just went to Gangadas Babaji, and I was looking for the yogi. But I couldn't find him. I couldn't find his assistant. I couldn't find the cave. There was nothing, just rocks and wilderness and lots of water. So I felt a little silly because I wanted to thank him for what he did. And I've been thinking about this incident almost every day, though it's been so many years since it occurred. Isn't it strange that this doctor was standing there just as I needed him, and a yogi who knew how to cure fever with his bare hands? What is going on? Obviously there's someone out there who cares for us if we open our senses. Anything could happen, at least in India. So that's what I wanted to tell you about today. I hope this story could inspire someone. Well, that's all for now. Thank you for your attention. Bye.